There's a war on women in America right now, and women's lives are at stake. This short video is a critical look at how women are losing their constitutional right to freedom of religion and the right to control their own bodies. Horrific laws have been passed. No abortion, even to save your life. If you are raped and get pregnant, 31 states let the rapist sue for custody. Your nosy neighbor whose right to life can sue for custody of your fetus. Have a miscarriage, get charged with murder. So I think that the guys who pass these laws should also have some skin in the game and designed a law to be passed to include them. It's based on the conservatives' beloved doctrine of personal responsibility.
Hi, I'm Lorelei Kraft. You know, all my life I've been a political junkie, and it's very disturbing what's happening nowadays as far as what's going on in our states and in Congress. Women's rights are really under attack, and so I designed something called the Male Responsibility Pledge Card. Here's what's happening in America today. There's been 1,000 proposed and or passed laws saying no sex education, no birth control, and no abortion. So the pledge card says, okay, there will be no sex then unless a man signs this card. If a male refuses to sign this pledge, he is showing he has no commitment to the woman he wants to have sex with, leaving her to bear the risk alone. And on the inside of the card, it says this: I, the man puts in his name, hereby acknowledge that I am about to have sex with, puts in the woman's name, on such and such a date. If she gets pregnant as a result of this, I hereby agree in advance that I will, voluntarily and with a smile on my face, pay half the cost of raising said child. Said costs will include, but not be limited to, food, clothing, daycare, medical expenses, dental care including braces, glasses, summer camps, athletic equipment, auto insurance, birthday parties, school pictures, school fees, music lessons, etc. I will never make excuses about why I cannot pay child support, as I know the mother of the child will have no leeway in whether or not that child will be fed. I will take joint parenting responsibility, including but not limited to taking the child to church, on vacations, and attending school conferences and activities in which the child participates. I will take equal responsibility in leaving work to care for this child when he or she is sick and cannot go to school. I will include said child in my family activities, even if I am married to someone else, so that said child will feel welcome in this world. I sign this freely and of my own accord, and consider this a binding legal document.
On the back it says this card should be carried by all males ages 16 and above, to be signed and left with their sex partner, married or single, every time they have sex. Failure to do so will be considered a felony.
Conservatives should love this card. Every conservative should support this as law, as vigorously as they are supporting laws against birth control, as it embraces their beloved doctrine of taking personal responsibility. And this pledge is certainly less invasive than some of the laws that have been passed in various states, mandating vaginal probes without her consent, even against the advice of her doctor, which is, of course, state-sponsored rape, and this is required to be done 24 hours before any abortion. What kind of a politician forces this be done on any woman, let alone one in grief because tests show that her fetus has no brain, or an 11-year-old who is a victim of incest? Shame on their callousness.
We have to remember that a woman can have sex with 100 men in a year, but only give birth to one baby. A man can have sex with 100 women in a year and have 100 babies. So why are we only regulating women's sex lives? If a law was passed banning blacks from having a legal operation to save their lives, there would be national outrage. Why is there none over laws saying no abortion, even to save the life of women? Why is there media silence? And why aren't the women up in arms over this? And what do we have to do to get them to be that way? Women need action going forward. This pledge needs to be made into law. It is no more invasive of men's rights than laws mandating inserting vaginal probes against the will of the woman and even against the advice of her doctor into pregnant women and girls who want or need an abortion. That is the very definition of rape. And we have to ask ourselves, where are the moderate men in this? Why are they silent in the state legislatures and Congress while this crap is being passed? They have wives, daughters, granddaughters. They should be standing up and speaking out against these outrages, but they are silent. Ordering information for the Male Responsibility Pledge Card can be found at the end of this website. And you'll also find other information about terrible laws being passed that you don't probably know about. Did you know that women in some states, if she has a miscarriage, can be charged with murder? A 21-year-old woman from Oklahoma suffered a miscarriage in 2020, was charged with first-degree murder, and sentenced to 4 years in prison. There are 380 women currently being charged. This really hits home for me as I had 6 pregnancies but only 2 live births. I was one of those women who had trouble carrying a pregnancy to term. And to think that while I'd still be dealing with the grief of my loss, I'd be hauled into the sheriff's office to explain why I'm not pregnant anymore. It's absolutely appalling. So please go to the website where you will learn even more about the terrible laws being passed with no regard for the health or well being of women and how far these terrible laws are going. And talk to your boyfriends and husbands and other men in your family about this so that they understand how far this has gone. Thank you.